Hola guys. I ain't even gonna fake a front by saying happy Monday, because it's not. I need to desahogar myself. I need to talk about some things, okay? And this is like the third time that I've started this video. So you guys heard me say that little dude hadn't gone to visit his dad for 2 months since the accident. So it's about 2 months. And the only reason he decided to go was because it was his little sister's birthday, and honestly because his dad was not going to take no for an answer. Because when it comes to anything that involves family and friends, he has to put on the act. So this was one of those opportunities where he had to put on the act. So of course little dude had to be there, you know, to look the part. My head hurts. But anywho, so yesterday he gets dropped off and he walks in crying. So I freak out. I don't know what's happened. I don't know if somebody's hurt him. I don't know if somebody's died. I don't know what's happening because of his autism. He gets anxious. He gets frustrated. It's hard for him to communicate when he's not stressed, but when he's stressed and sad, and it's really, really hard to get out what's happening, because he walked in crying and he wouldn't really talk to me. He wouldn't look at me. He wouldn't let me hug him. I mean, he was he was having an autism thing. Okay. So I'm like, I'm going to call your dad and find out what happened. No, don't call my dad. I'm like, oh my gosh, if this man hurt my child, if this man did something disturbing in front of my child. But he's like, no, don't call him. It's just, he was trying to cover up for something. So it's okay, guys. He wasn't hurt. He didn't hurt him, because I wouldn't be here. I'd be in jail. I promise you, I would not be here if he had hurt my child physically. But he did mess with his little head. So let me take you guys back a little bit. When little dude was around 12 years old, he started asking questions. Mom, how come you and my dad aren't together? Mom, how come you and my dad aren't together? Now, I used to be able to get away with telling him at 12 years old, oh, baby, it's just that sometimes people don't get along. They decide that it's better to be apart. They stop getting along. And that was good enough for him at 12. And then the older he got, into 13, and all during 13, he kept asking over and over again, Mom, how come you and my dad weren't together? And the reason he was becoming more and more curious was because he saw his dad bouncing back and forth between his stepmom, before she was a stepmom. But he saw him be with her, then break up with her and get his own apartment, and then get back with her, and then he was curious, so he'd ask again, Mom, why aren't you and my dad together? And I told him, I would try and say the same thing. Well, because, we just didn't end up getting along, and we just both decided, that it was best for us to go our separate ways. I'm not going to tell a child anything, bad about his dad, or talk about grown folks' business. I'm not going to. You've heard me say before, I do not speak negatively about this piece of crap unless I'm talking to y'all. But I don't say anything negative to my son about his father, because my mother didn't do that to me. So I just don't. I'm not going to do that. But the older he got, the more curious he got. So eventually my answer of, oh, we just didn't get it, wasn't enough. So he finally would ask. He started asking, Mom, did he ever hurt you? I'm like, no. Your dad never hurt me. Your dad never abused me. Did dad ever cheat on you? And he's asking me all these questions. And I remember thinking, how do you even know to ask these questions? You want to know how he knows? Because he sees. As your children grow up, trust and believe they're watching everything you do. Okay? They're watching everything you do, and they're forming their opinion of you based on your actions. They are learning you. Okay? So when he started asking me, did he ever hurt you? Did he ever cheat on you? Did he ever? I'm like, no. He never did anything like that. So I'm like, okay, my little excuses are not going to work enough. So the one thing I told him was, I suspected that he might have been cheating, and it made me very unhappy. And I did not want to be unhappy. And I didn't want him to be the example for you and Michael. I don't believe that he would have been a good example of how to treat women and how to be in a relationship. So we split up. Now, at the time he understood it, we had a nice, good conversation about it, and that's when I realized, holy crap, he's growing up. But not only is he growing up, he is seeing his father for who and what he is. And I have tried to have this conversation with his dad before. You need to get your crap in gear. You need to act like a better man. You need to be a better example, because he's only getting older and he's going to see stuff that he shouldn't be seeing, and it's going to mess with y'all's relationship. No, I'm fine. He does no wrong. He does no wrong. He's this perfect man, and he does no wrong. So, mind you, this conversation happened about a year ago. He was 13. And since then, he hasn't asked me anything about him. He understands my mom and dad aren't together because my mom thought my dad was cheating and caused her some pain. And she didn't want us growing up in the house with her unhappy and being around a man who was going to teach us that that's okay to do to women. This is exactly what I told him. This is what he got out of what I told him. He's not stupid, okay? He's a smart kid. But we left it alone. So yesterday, apparently, he's upset, he's crying. I can't get anything that makes sense out of him. I go against his wishes. I was gonna call his dad, like, what happened? Why is he crying? When I get to pick up my phone, I have these huge, long text messages from him telling me, you better stop saying negative things about me to my son. Anything that happened in our relationship is between you and I. Don't be trying to turn him against me like my other kids' mothers did. You need to keep your mouth shut. He's like, I know you've been saying bad things to Caleb about me, and I know you're trying. He going all into this, poor me, I'm a victim, blah, blah, blah. He's a very narcissistic, evil, can be evil person. And he was just ranting and raving and going on. I'm like, what the heck happened? So I ignored the text and I called little dude into the room and I said, hey, your dad has kind of told me a little bit about what happened. How about you tell me what happened? Because what's important here is you. Well, what is he saying? I said, he's very upset because he says that I have been speaking negatively about him to you. I said, so what happened tonight? Now, mind you, little dude is tore up. Little dude don't cry. He wants to cry, but he won't cry. He was crying. The fat tears and the boogers. And up until now, I'm hurting so bad because I don't know why he's crying. And I still don't know, but I kind of have a hint. I'm like, oh my gosh, I know his father. His father can be a raving lunatic when he gets upset. Little dude must have said something that set him off, and that's why my child is upset. So let's talk about it. He said they were at his grandpa's house, and they had people over at his grandpa's house, and there was this girl there who was joking around about his dad being a cheater. First of all, why is my child in the room when adult conversations like that are happening? Y'all have heard me say little pictures, right? Why is my child in the room with adults having adult conversations? That just irked me. Kids need to have their place and adults need to know better. But he was in the room. The girl is teasing his dad about being a cheater, and little dude said, well, you are, and left it at that. When they were leaving their grandpa's house to get in the car for him to bring him home, his dad stopped him on the sidewalk and said, why did you say I was a cheater? And continued to grill him for 45 minutes. Why did you say that? Who said that? Who you been talking to? Why would you say something like that? So finally little dude says, you know what? This day is just... And yes, I cussed, and you guys, I just need to get somewhere and cry and probably on video while driving is not the best, but I have tried to make this video 3 times already. The first time I was rattling on too much and I said, my gosh. So I turned it off. Second time, I was getting through it and hit a friggin' pothole. Okay, in my new car. Friggin' pothole. It was loud and bad. This car is very low profile. Who knows if I just screwed up my car or not. On top of the day at work having been a crap show. Okay, so I am trying to get on here and desahogarme, just talk some mess out that happened yesterday with little dude. And I swear, if I didn't, I honestly believe I know where all the bad luck is coming from. You know, I've been joking around about somebody having a little fat voodoo doll, or I honestly believe in my heart of hearts right now, and for a while now, but even more so now, that I know where all the bad luck is coming from. And that is bad energy off of little dude's dad. And you either believe in that stuff or you don't. But little dude and I were thinking the last few weeks that it's such a strange coincidence that everything that has happened bad in the last 2 months has happened on the weekends that little dude decided he didn't want to go with his dad. And in the past, every time little dude said he didn't want to go with his dad would rant and rave and rage and accuse me of keeping him away from his son and just make this huge deal. But the last 2 months, every time little dude said he didn't want to go, I didn't hear a peep. But then something bad would happen. And I wondered, kind of shook it off, kind of blew it off, but I've wondered, could it be bad energy that he's putting out, that anger, that whatever? Could it be what he's putting out that is causing us to have bad times on the weekends that we're supposed to be with him? But anyway, I'm talking about him because I'm stressed out. And I have tried to make this video 5 times. And the first time I was just rambling and rattling on and not making any sense. The second time, I was doing well and I hit a huge friggin' pothole. My car sounded like it died. Okay, it just huge crunch. I'm even scared to get out and look. I don't know what the hell. It's driving fine, but it was an ugly friggin' pothole. And here I go again. I'm talking about this evil, and I hit a friggin' pothole. It seems like every time that I try and start it, something happens. So I'm almost home, and I need to get this out. And it's not just yesterday. Today at work was hell. Today at work was hell. When I tell you I communicated with the devil himself, I did. If you are my friends on Facebook, you know the whole deal with one particular patient, and if I can get my mind right, I'll tell you guys about that. But I had a panic attack at work on top of having this in my head, which I thought I was over as of last night. I kind of like had the last word and thought I was over it this morning. But anyway, hold on, this is going to be the 6th time because now I'm home. My big boy is about to leave for work, so I can't even do it in the driveway. Okay guys, my big dude's gone off to work. I got out of the car just now to check to see what happened to my wheel. And it is scratched. Just some paint chip off the wheel itself. But I'm so paranoid right now, guys. Just expecting bad crap to happen. But I need to finish talking about what I'm talking about. And only now, because I am really convinced that that SOB has some bad juju on me. So I'm going to talk through it. I'm gonna get through it. We're gonna get through it together. So I got out to check on my wheel, And while I'm standing there checking on my wheel, I don't know that I'm standing in an ant pile, and both of my feet were covered in ants when they started stinging me. So my feet are on fire. They crawled up one of my pant legs and were doing their dirty business on my calf. But anywho, let me just get this out here, because I'm telling you, I'm just convinced that he's part of my bad luck, because I was talking about him. I hit a pothole. I was talking about him, or was gonna talk about him, and I got swarmed by ants. So you know what? No, you ain't shutting me up, devil. See, it's so loud out here. I'm getting back in. I want to cry. Oh my gosh, I'm getting back in the car. I'm turning on the air. We're gonna sit in there and we're gonna talk, because I can't go inside because little dude just got home from school. I don't want to sit outside because it's so friggin' loud out here. So I don't know what to do with my keys. There they are. So we're gonna sit in the car. We're gonna turn this car on. I'm out here in these itty bitty shorts because I had to peel my pants off to get the ants off of me. Let's get some air on because it's hot. So y'all might hear the air. They were at his grandpa's house. I'm so tired. I can't even get my thoughts right. But I need to get it out because I don't want to think about it anymore. I just want to be home with my kid. But it's still bothering me. When little dude was asked, who told you that I'm a cheater? Caleb told me, Mom, I didn't tell him you said he cheated on you. I told him that you thought he was a cheater. But that's all his dad needs to hear. That's all his dad needs to hear. And then he gets on the defensive, and then everybody's against him. The whole wide world's against him. So for 45 minutes, he grilled my son about who's talking bad about me, who else is talking about me, who's saying these things, and little dude with his autism cannot articulate, he cannot verbalize usually, naturally anyway, but when he's stressed, scared, mad, it's worse. And he said, I kept telling Dad, I don't know, all the questions he was asking me, who told you that, and where did you hear that, and who's talking bad about me, I don't know, nobody, I don't know. And I said, were you crying? Did you start crying? Yeah, and he wouldn't stop. So the fact that he did not care about his son enough to stop, all he cared about was who's talking bad about me, because he's all about a show. My chest hurts. I swear I'm gonna have another panic attack. I already had one today. And that's why I need to get it out, because I don't want it to sneak up on me. I think I stop hating this man until he does something. And I haven't felt hate for him in so long because he's not relevant in my life. Because I pushed all that mess away when I kicked him out when Caleb was 3 months old. He has been such a non-factor in my life for so long, but because he upset my son, because he made my kid cry, because the important thing to him was finding out who was talking noise about him, not how you're affecting your son. Yet on his text messages, anyway, back to the text messages, he says, stop telling my kids negative kid negative things about me. What happened in our relationship happened in our relationship. It's nobody's business. He's too young to be hearing stuff like that. You're trying to turn him against me like my other baby's moms turn my kids against me. You need to keep your mouth shut, because I don't think you'll like it if I start talking about you to him, and I'll do it. I'm like, oh my gosh, you're threatening to interfere in my relationship with my son. You're threatening to lie because you don't have anything to say. But anyway, before he and I got into it, I read enough in his text messages to know this is what happened. So little dude comes and tells me, I cannot get past the initial bull. I don't know if it's this whole spine thing happening, if it's that I got too much on my mind, too much I want to say. There's anger and there's detail and there's facts, and I don't know what it is, but I'm really, really struggling right now. And okay. So, little dude tells me he was asking him 1,000,001 questions. Even after he started crying, he wouldn't leave him alone. They finally get in the car. They're driving home, and his dad tells him, look, me and your mom didn't break up because I cheated. Me and your mom broke up because we were having problems with my daughter, which was my stepdaughter at the time. Me and your mom were having a whole lot of problems with, I'll call her Maria. That's not her name. Me and your mom were having a whole bunch of problems with Maria, and that's why we split up, because your mom couldn't handle it. Now, I'll tell you, but I didn't tell him. And then I told him, well, I've told you the story about why your dad and I aren't together anymore. I've told you that it's because I suspected he cheated, and it's because I was very unhappy in the relationship, and because I did not want my boys raised in an unhappy home and being raised by a man who was going to teach them that it's okay to mistreat women and be disrespectful to women and just, be out in the streets all the time. I said, I've told you that story. He said, yeah, I know. I said, and that's the truth. And I left it at that. But I'll tell you, like I told him later on, how dare you sit there and bold-faced lie and tell my son that the reason we broke up was because I couldn't handle the stress of my stepdaughter. You know good and well why we broke up, because you were a horrible person. You were a horrible person, and your nastiness escalated the longer we were together, culminated during my pregnancy, which is why at 3 months old, when little dude came home from the NICU, I kicked you to the curb the second day he was home. You know the truth. I said, you tell all these stories to every new woman in your life, and you make yourself this victim, and it works. You trick women, but don't you even think about trying to lie to my son. Because he all but said, if you're going to keep talking negative about me, I'll talk negative about you, and let's see where that gets us. And I told him, what do you have to say about me that's negative? What do you have to say? That I put up with your crap for 5 years and I couldn't take it anymore and I kicked you to the curb? Anything you say other than that is going to be a lie. So you're going to lie to my son about me? To turn him against me because you got it in your head that I'm putting poison in his ear about you? And that's not even the case. And I explained to him a couple years back, he started asking questions. As he's gotten older, he's asking more questions. And I explained things to him to where I think his age will understand. I said, I've never spoken negatively about you, but I'm honest with him. He wanted to know why we weren't together. He wants to know what type of man you are. You cannot put this on me. This little boy has seen you go from girlfriend to wife, to splitting up with your wife, getting an apartment, having a little girlfriend while you have your apartment, then going back to your wife, and then y'all break up and you get another apartment. This is what your son is seeing. So if your son has questions about, Mom, how come you and my dad aren't together? It's because he's starting to connect some dots. He's starting to see the picture that you're painting. But you can't tell his dad anything like that. His dad is a victim always. He's a great man. He's a good provider. He's a great husband. He's an incredible father. But every woman he has ever met has done nothing but not appreciate him, kick him to the curb, not love him enough, not love him back, and turn his children against him. He's an absolute narcissist, a sick narcissist. But I did my best to calm little dude down, convinced him you did nothing wrong, because he was feeling so bad. He's like, I shouldn't have said anything, but everybody was joking around. And I thought, it was going to be funny if I said what I said. I didn't know it was going to turn into this, and now he's mad at you. I said, don't worry about him being mad at me. I got this, okay? You don't feel bad. You didn't say anything wrong. You repeated something you heard. Now, maybe I should not have told you what I said, but I felt you were old enough and you were asking a lot of questions. I said, so you didn't do anything wrong, and I honestly don't think I did anything wrong. I didn't tell you that your dad cheated. I told you I suspected he had. And that's when little dude says, well, that's what I told him. I told him that you thought he cheated, not that you did, but that's his dad. His dad will come at me with a bunch of friggin' lies. You should hear the lies this man has told, because me and his wife get along. You should hear some of the lies this man has told about me to her and about her to me. We've compared notes. It's amazing the lengths and stories that this man goes into to try and keep people seeing him in a positive light, to try and keep people seeing him as the victim. It's a sickness. He's sick. But anyway, so I did my best to calm little dude down, and he wasn't. Even by the time he went to bed, he was still very, very upset. But he seemed okay this morning. He seems okay now. But it's just been bothering me. So after I calmed little dude down and I told him you did nothing wrong, and you shouldn't have anything to worry about, and I'm so sorry that he put that stress on you. I'm so sorry that he didn't back off when he was supposed to have backed off. I'm so sorry about that. But we're gonna be good. I got you. I got you back, kid. Don't worry about it. So I put him to bed, and then I don't speak to this man, because you can't speak to this man. He starts yelling and screaming, acting like a little. Okay. So we were texting back and forth, and I read the entirety of his long initial rants, and I basically said, so you're threatening to tell lies about me to my son to turn him against me because you are convinced that that's what I'm doing on this end. It's not the smartest thing to do on text. You've never cared about my relationship with him. You've always interfered. You've always butted in, and you're doing exactly what... Oh, he went on this tirade. So I was trying to explain to him that the only thing I told him was what I've already told you guys. I suspected he cheated. I didn't want him to be an example for my boys growing up, so that's why we split up. But no, he's convinced that I am sitting here putting poison in my son's ear about him. And this is all guilt. When you think the world is looking at you like, it's because your ass is doing... I'm human, okay? I said ass. When you think the world is looking at you side-eyed, is because you're doing stuff that's causing the world to look at you that way. It ain't nothing but guilt, okay? It ain't nothing but guilt. It's his own guilty conscience making him think that he's caught. Because you are. And that's what I told him. I said, look, if you don't want your dirt to be exposed, stop being dirty. Stop being... And then that triggered him. That word triggered him. I remember when we used to be together, the word dirty triggers him to a point where he was almost violent. Somebody called him dirty once, and I'd never seen this man this angry. That word dirty affected him, and I didn't do it on purpose. I was just saying, don't do dirt. If you don't want your dirty souls, don't be dirty. And I think I triggered him, because he sent me a whole nother ranty rave text message about, you're the dirty one. You've always been a dirty woman. You were a dirty woman when we were together. I'm like, because that word triggers him. I guess he thought it was going to break me, but I know my truth. I know I've never been a dirty female. I've never cheated on a man. I've always been little Miss Happy Homemaker trying to be. I've always played the role and felt comfortable in it. So whatever his opinion of me, all this ranting and raving and yelling and screaming and nonsense that he's doing, it did nothing. It did nothing. But that's what he was doing for like a good hour. He was just going on and on, which is what he used to do when we were together, which is what we used to do when little dude was small, and he would bring him home not having taken his medication, not having had his milks, not having had 3 meals. It's always him. He's never done anything wrong. It's always everybody else. And that he tried to throw in my face. I can't believe that you're putting all these lies. I can't believe that you're saying no. See, he never said stop telling my son lies about me. He said stop telling my son negative things about me. See the difference? He knows I'm not telling lies, but he doesn't want me exposing the negative things about him, because he wants to look like the granddad, the good pappy, the good man, the family man. He's all about show, and he's always been this way with every woman he's been with. He's about the show, the look, and then behind the scenes, it's a friggin' disaster. And see, now his children, the older they get, are seeing him for what he is, and they're starting to ask questions, and he's being exposed for the type of man he is, and he is mad. And we all warned him. Everyone, his baby mamas, because he has a whole bunch of them, warned him, you got to get your crap together, because you have children, especially the boys that are growing up. They're going to see what you are. And it's happening. But he never listened. He always blew it off like whatever, because he is convinced that he is this amazing man. But he tried to throw in my face that I'm poisoning my autistic son. You're telling, it's bad enough that he's autistic, and now you're trying to twist his little mind even more with all these ideas about me and all this negative stuff about me. I can't believe you would do that to him when you know he's autistic. I'm like, hold up. I treat my child like he's not autistic, okay? I speak to him like I would speak to anybody else. He's smart enough to understand things. He's smart enough to ask questions. He's smart enough to understand the concept of things. So I speak to him like a little man, okay? I speak to him like a little man. That's what I do. You, on the other hand, going on and on about how dare I treat my autistic child like this and mess with his little head. You grilled him for over an hour, 45 minutes at your dad's house, then the 20 minutes here. You grilled him for over an hour, made him cry, upset him, knowing that his anxiety with his autism completely shatters him. And then you let him walk into the house, because he's not allowed in my house anymore. I don't know if I told you guys that. He's not allowed in my house anymore. But you allowed that child to walk into his home crying. But I should be ashamed of what I'm doing to my autistic son? This man is absolutely brutal in his thinking. He's almost not human at times. But it pisses me off, because I have worked so hard for 14 years not to talk crap about this man to my son. It has cost me un mendigo dolorazo, un pinche trabajo. Yes, I'm cussing, I'm sorry. It has been work for me not to be that bitter mom. It has been work for me not to turn my child against his father. It has been work for me to keep a stupid smile on my face, trying to encourage my child to have a relationship with his father, only to have this man accuse me of doing everything that I have worked so hard not to do. But it's guilt on his part. He knows he's being exposed, and he's not willing to change. He wants to remain the same piece of crap he is, and wants everybody to just be okay about it. Doesn't want anybody to call him out. And if you do, watch out. Watch out if you call him out, because all of a sudden you're the bad guy. You're the horrible person. How dare you come at me like this? How dare you attack me? I'm an incredible human being. Nobody loves me. Nobody understands me. Blah, blah, blah. But I had that in me last night. Now, at the end of the night, he just became so funny to me. I called him a whole clown. I said, you're a whole clown right now. I said, I'm done. I shouldn't even have carried on this conversation with you as long as I have, but the only reason I did was because I needed you to understand that you will not ever have my son in this situation again. You're telling me don't be talking to my son about our personal relationship and blah, blah, blah. I don't talk about our relationship to my son. You're a non-issue in this home. You are irrelevant. You have no relevance in my life. I don't speak on you unless I have to. I don't even think about you except on visitation weekends. I am not sitting here talking crap to my child about you. I do not have those conversations around my child, unlike you and your little cohorts at your dad's house, whoever the heck those people were, having this whole conversation with a child there or allowing a child there during this conversation. See, I'm not you. But you see the way the world, how do I say it in Spanish? You see the world the way you are. So if you're a piece of crap, you think everybody in the world is a piece of crap. And that's him. He's low, underhanded, dirty, and he thinks everybody plays the same game that he plays. Anyway, I'm just irked. I'm just irked. And then today at work, a horrible human being, I call him the devil himself, who I honestly think just gets bored and wants to call in and be an issue. But I'm not even going to get into that because my chest is hurting, my head is hurting. But this man, I've had to deal with him in the time that I've worked there. I've had to deal with him a couple of times, and it gets to the point, you guys, it's gotten to the point where the minute I hear his voice, my chest gets tight and my heart starts to beat. And I cannot believe that I'm at work reacting to a person like this. It's only him. But I hear his voice and I'm triggered. I'm friggin' triggered into panic because I know he's evil. You get this sense of people, right? If you believe in this, you do. If you don't, you don't. But have you ever come across a person and you feel this energy off of them? You feel a vibe. You feel darkness. That's what I feel from this guy. Just hearing his voice, I immediately now, because he's such a terrible human being, my chest starts to hurt. And I had a panic attack, guys. Like, I was this close to fainting. I scared my coworker so bad, guys. I scared him so bad. I'm gonna turn the car off because I don't want to run out of gas. And my poor baby's been sitting here for 15 minutes. But I recognized his voice and I almost immediately hung up. My gut reaction was no. But I'm like, no, you got a job to do. Be a professional. You've dealt with this jerk before. It's a good 20, 30 minutes. Or if I have to hang up or he gets frustrated and hangs up, he'll call back. He wants to talk to me. There's something wrong with him. And I think it's because he gets a reaction out of me. He gets the attitude. I do. You're going to give me attitude. West Dallas is coming out. I'm going to get an attitude right back with you. And I think he likes that. I honestly think he gets off on it because the other little lady, very sweet, very friendly, but she seems bored with him. So he ends the conversation real quick. My other coworker gives him his run for his money. And he doesn't like that. He wants this one. He wants this one who's going to try and maintain the professionalism. He wants this one who, after so long, you can hear the attitude in my voice. That's what he likes. He likes that one. And that's me. So I answered. I recognized his voice. I almost hung up. I'm like, nah, this fool, I got him. So I'm talking to him, and he's being the same jerk as he always is, just condescending and mean and insulting and just a terrible human being. And I started feeling my chest getting tight. My heart started to beat. I'm like, girl, I know you're not going to have no friggin' panic attack behind this old man. I know you are not. Then my face started to sweat. And I started getting scared. The panic set in. And I'm like, and while all this is happening, it's happening because he's on this line asking for help. And then I try and give it to him. No, you're wrong. sir, you do. No, that's not right. I've been doing that for the last 20 minutes. Everything I say, he has a rebuttal. Everything I say, he has a rebuttal. And he gets off on it. It is so obvious. In the tone of his voice and the things he says is so obvious. This is a game to him. And it is a game because in the few times that we've had where I guess he gets bored and hangs up, he'll call back. And this is an all day thing. He'll call back. And when my coworkers answer, he hangs up. We can tell who it is by the phone number. When I answer, hi there, it's your best friend again, it's a game to him. And this happens maybe once a month, once every 2 months. But I was so surprised that I went into panic mode. And maybe it had to do something with what happened with little dude yesterday. And then that. And I wrote in a good mood. Little dude seemed okay this morning. I wrote in a good mood. I prayed that my son's spirit was lifted and then he wasn't in no heavy spirit. And I prayed for him. I should have prayed for me. I prayed for little dude to make sure that he had a good day, that everything that happened the night before would be gone, that his spirit would be lifted. He'd be in a positive spirit, a good spirit. That spirit of pain and confusion was gone from him. And I lifted him in prayer and I felt good and I got to work and I was having a good morning until the devil himself called. And I think it was just a combination of both situations that made me, after a while, he was just being so ridiculous. He was interrupting me. He wasn't listening. I'm like, okay, you're full-fledged game now. You ain't even needing help right now. You are into this nasty game and I'm not doing it. I couldn't breathe. My chest was tight. I couldn't breathe. My face was hot. So I just hung up and I got up and I'm trying to talk. But when you're hyperventilating, I was like, oh, and your mind is telling you, are you hyperventilating? I am hyperventilating. So I got up, I pushed my chair back, I got up, and I'm trying to tell the ladies, I can't deal with this man, can somebody take this call? I couldn't speak, I'm hyperventilating. So they're like, Melissa, what's wrong? And I'm like, I can't explain because I can't breathe. And then I start seeing the sparklies right before you're gonna pass out. My legs went to jello, and they're like, sit down. So I sat down. I was so embarrassed, I was scared, I was mad, I was all these things, which just makes it all worse. I had a full-fledged friggin' panic attack at work, and I haven't had one since I worked at my other hospital. I had quite a few there. If you guys have been with me long enough, you know the hell that clinic was. But the doctor at that clinic knew how to talk me down. He was a doctor. He knew when I was having a panic attack, he'd walk in and he would zen me down. These poor ladies, I don't think they've ever seen one. I don't know. But I did scare them later on in the afternoon. They're like, Melissa, you scared us so bad. I'm sorry. We thought you were having a heart attack. We didn't know. We just knew you were hyperventilating. I said, I'm so sorry. I'm so embarrassed. But they got my back. They got my back because ever since the blood pressure scare, they don't, if they hear me kind of having to get loud or having to explain things over and over and over again, they'll take over a phone call, whatever. They got my back. They don't want me to stroke out on them. But yeah, I didn't expect that. I was so friggin' embarrassed. But then yeah, so I was like, you know what, and then I wanted to cry when I left work and I'm walking to the car. I wanted to cry. And I tried to start the video multiple times and then just stupid crap kept happening. And the latest was and I don't know when in this video it's going to come in. I don't know, but was the pothole and then the anthill. And it's just like, you know what? I'm going in. I'm going to make my baby some dinner. And I'm letting this day wash off me. I am going to pray over myself. And you guys, I'm convinced that this bad energy that has been surrounding me in the last 2 months, the car accident, the phone, the pothole, the ants, even little things like the pothole and the ants, I'm convinced that it is bad energy surrounded around his dad. Because little dude and I had been talking even before, and it's too much of a coincidence that every weekend that little dude decided he didn't want to go with his dad in the last 2 months, something bad has happened. We were in a car accident. I broke my phone. He ended up with, and I didn't tell you guys this because why would I put this on YouTube? Gusher, sinus nosebleeds on a weekend that he was supposed to go with his dad. I ended up having severe pain days on the weekend he was supposed to be with his dad. Now a pothole in an anthill. when I'm talking about his dad, I'm convinced that he is putting out negative energy. And I thought that we had gotten past it, or he had grown some, because usually when little dude would say, I don't want to go with you, he would rant and rave and have a fit and call me and accuse me of keeping his son away from him and do all this extra mess. And the last 2 months that little dude has not wanted to go with him, I haven't heard a peep. So I'm thinking maybe he's not putting it out verbally. Maybe he's putting just bad energy out. I would hope not, because little dude was in the car with me. But I don't know. You either believe in that or you don't. But, and y'all hear me joke around all the time about somebody has a little fat voodoo doll of me. But I believe in bad energy. I believe you can vex people. I really do. And I wonder if all of this hasn't had something to do with the fact that little dude just doesn't want to hang out with him. He doesn't. He was actually pressured to go with him this weekend. Little dude didn't want to go. He didn't. He misses his little brother, but me and his mom can get together and get the boys together. He doesn't like going, and he won't tell me why. I've asked over and over again, are you being hurt? Do you feel scared? Do you feel, like you're not being taken care of? No. But I never know with him. I don't know. I don't know if he's telling the truth or not. Or if he's able to, not telling me the truth, but if he's able to verbalize the reason I don't want to go is because he was pressured into going this weekend, and look how it turned out for him. So when the next visitation rolls around and this little boy doesn't want to go, I get it. Okay, I get it. I stopped trying to encourage the whole go hang out with your brother, because the dad comes with the picture, and it's a dang shame. It is a dang shame that I have to say that. But when the dad is so uninvolved, the only time he shows any real involvement is when there's a crowd, if there's a birthday party, if there's a barbecue, if there's a wedding, if there's anything that involves him looking the part, then yeah, he'll insist that little dude go with him. But other than that, he hasn't even been looking for him. It's getting hot in here. I don't know. I feel better. I might share this video. I don't know. But I just needed to get it out. And I knew I could talk to you guys. So I'm going to go in. I know I lost my trail of thought somewhere. But I'm going to go in and get dinner made. So it's only Monday. I'm off tomorrow. Little dude has some appointments and his ARD for school for next year, and I just took the day off. So I'll talk to you guys soon. Oh my gosh, that is so pretty. My neighbor got this cute little Hyundai something or other. Oh no, it's a Kia. So cute. But anywho, I'll talk to you guys soon. I hope you guys had an awesome Monday. Hope you guys roll into an awesome Tuesday. But that is so cute. I'm sorry I got distracted, but at least I'm distracted by something cute. But I will talk to you guys soon, I'm sure. I'll get into something happy, something not so stressful. And to my next go around. I love y'all bunches. Bye.